if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you'd feel a little disappointed, but you know you're going to the playoffs and you're in that search for that next ring. Here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys with longtime Dallas Cowboys fan, Quincy Peaker. Quincy, thank you for coming on the show, coming in to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And, you know, we get into these interviews, we always start off with a routine line of questioning, and I'll pick that up again. How long have you been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys?
I've been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys since about 2002. My first game actually watching a Cowboys game was one of Emmitt Smith's last game as a Cowboy, and that's kind of what got me being a Cowboys fan ever since, even after he left.
What was your most memorable moment as a Cowboys fan?
Still to this day, that Dez Bryant controversial call against Green Bay hurts me. Still to this day, I still go back and watch that. I think it was a catch. I don't know. It was controversial for sure.
What were your expectations coming into the season? I know a lot of people were concerned that Mike McCarthy, another retread coach, coming in, getting a second season after the disappointing showing in that loss to the Niners in the playoffs. What were you hoping as a Cowboys fan going into this season?
Well, first I was hoping that we would be NFC East champions again, to repeat the championship for like the first time since like 2004 when the Eagles did it. But at least the NFC championship game, it's been 26, 27 years since we reached the NFC championship game. So that was pretty much, it's still alive. So let's hope and pray.
Was there a point you were absolutely confident that the Cowboys were making the playoffs? Was there a particular game that made you feel very confident?
After we beat the Vikings 40-3 and they were winning, everybody was like, oh, they're so great and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And we came out and rolled. I was pretty confident that we were going to the playoffs. I was pretty confident we were going to the playoffs after Cooper Rush went 4-1. I was like, oh, yeah, we can do that with a backup. It's pretty much the team. It's a team sport. Like if the quarterback can step in and go 4-1, and he wasn't really playing spectacular, but he was playing keeps away with the ball. Like he didn't turn the ball over. So hey, I was pretty confident.
Was there a point you were worried about Dallas making the playoffs? Was it the season opener against Tampa Bay? Was it any of the Eagles games? Was there anything else that made you really worried?
It was definitely the season opener against Tampa Bay. Dak Prescott gets hurt. Not sure how long he's going to be down. You don't know how long you're going to be without your starter quarterback. Like I said, and that's when Cooper Rush gave all Dallas Cowboys fans, he gave us something to hope for. Like he went 4-1. He did what he was supposed to do as a backup in the NFL. He lost to the Eagles. That was it. They were rolling a roll. I was hurt, but once he did what he had to do, I felt like I was pretty confident from that day forth.
I know that the brackets are already out for the NFC playoffs, but who in the NFC do you think the Cowboys match up the best with?
The Vikings. Like I said, we rooted them 40-3. I think the confidence is already there. I think they're ready to go and beat them again. If it comes down to it, I think they can beat them. I don't think Kirk Cousins performs very well in primetime game. I think between them and the Seahawks are probably the worst two teams in the NFC as far as like playoff teams this year.
Who is the team that you're worried about in the NFC playoffs? Is it Tampa Bay, who Dallas is facing now because it's always Tom Brady you can't count out? Is it the Eagles? Is it someone else? Is it the Niners? Are those the teams that you're worried about? And who out of those teams are you worried about the most?
Well, of course, you're worried about all the teams. Like the Eagles had the best record in the league, but I'm, of course, more scared of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is 7-0, I believe, against the Cowboys. Like he has never lost against the Cowboys. So, of course, that would be the most team scared of. But as far as like full bottom team, Brock Purdy's playing pretty good. Jalen Hurts is probably the most exciting player to watch right now, along with the best offensive line, top 5 defense, Niners, number 1 defense. It's a scary road. It's a scary road to the NFC.
When we talked about Cooper Rush earlier and the injury to Dak Prescott, seeing that Dak Prescott had a little bit of a rough game against Washington on Sunday, are you worried about what version of Dak you're going to see heading into the playoffs? Just something that it's just, okay, last game of the season, divisional game, no big.
A team that you needed to go out and beat, and you were making mistakes like you were a rookie. Yes, I'm very upset with Dakota Prescott at this moment. I'm hoping we see a better version of him in the playoffs, but we cannot afford to see this version of Dak. It's not going to end well. He the decision making that he was making against Washington it was poor. It was terrible.
The defense really had been the hero a lot through the early part of the season. To you, what was the key that the defense was doing that really kept offenses off balance?
It was putting pressure on the quarterback. That's what all defense. That's what all great defenses do. It's like you got Micah Parsons blitzing from whether he coming off the edge, whether he coming from linebacker position. DeMarcus Lawrence had a pretty good season. Dorrance Armstrong was in the backfield quite a bit. I mean, you putting constant pressure on there. The quarterback's got to make decisions pretty quick. It's crazy.
Is there a concern? I mean, Jerry Jones seems like this. There's no concern. It's an easier, I guess, from his perspective, to think, okay, no problem. Everybody. Sometimes you can't win them all, and going to playoffs. That's not indicative of how they played all season.
But I mean, it's not. But it is. Dak Prescott missed 5 games. He still led the league or tied to lead the league in interceptions. Like I said, it was not a lot on him. It's a lot of drop passes, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of routes not being fully ran, a lot. But like at the end of the day, it's all mistakes still being made. Like Dallas Cowboys as a whole franchise, they were still making a lot of mistakes. Still have a lot of concerns with Mike McCarthy and his time management skills. That Jacksonville game, I feel like it's third and 2. I feel like you run the ball. You don't have to throw the ball. I feel like you don't go for it on a lot of those fourth downs that Mike McCarthy was going for it on. It's still a lot of concerns. When you get into the playoffs, it's those mistakes that have to be limited. You can't afford to make the mistakes like that. These are playoff teams now.
Your prediction for the Super Bowl: who's coming out of the NFC? Who's coming out of the AFC? What is the final score and who wins?
In a perfect world, it would be Dallas, right? I'd say if we going, it's tough. I like the way Brock Purdy's playing. I say Brock Purdy versus the Bills. That whole shenanigan with the Bills. They playing their hearts out right now for DeMar Hamlin. So I don't see anybody stopping the Bills in the AFC at the moment unless it be Patrick Mahomes. But I say Bills 49ers, Bills 24-23.
It's going to come down to one point, and the way kicking is in this game, it may come down to a missed field goal, or it may come down to a made field goal, or a made extra point, or a missed extra point. You never really know. Like I said, kicking is going to be one of those variables that for a while you wouldn't have worried about. A 20-yard extra point. Now it's a 30-yard extra point.
30.
And, it starts getting a little dicey from there. Before we wrap this up, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to do this, what are ways people can reach out to you to talk Cowboys football? And do you have any shout outs or anything you want to give to anybody?
Well, I'm on Facebook. As you know, you can always find me on Facebook. I'm willing to talk sports, any type of sports. If you want to talk sports, I'm pretty much a sports guy. I don't really have any shout outs. I'm ready for these playoffs just like everybody else.